Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about why I talk about material possessions and success so often. I get this question every now and then, it's like, oh, you're just talking about money. This is the love of money, it's the root of all evil, and all this kind of nonsense. And it's nonsense because these people think that if you talk for a short period of time about success, and which is under the understanding that you are following and walking with God under his Son, you know him and you're obeying him, and that you weren't put here in this world to do nothing. Meanwhile, the people who whine and complain about talk of money as if it's not spiritual, because really if you want to look at things the right way, you can look at everything as spiritual, because God created this. He's the source of all things. So we live in a physical world, but it is derived from the spiritual world. God who is a spirit, God who is spirit. All the physical came from spirit. The spirit is greater, obviously, but this is the world we live in. And we're here to do things and be productive and be active and be useful. Not be laying around doing nothing all day, not be mindless consumers. And one of the most fascinating things is that most often when people will have an issue with talking about money or success, thinking it's off-putting or something, meanwhile, they're going and working somewhere for 8 hours a day that they hate. The only reason at all that they go to work that they don't like, is for money. So while they're worried about talking about money, thinking it's not spiritual or something, they're literally selling themselves, doing something they hate strictly for money. And I have to stress this, that what more is the love of money than doing something you hate each and every day, 5 days a week, making yourself miserable only for money? The only reason you're doing this is for money. What I'm presenting to you is something better than that. It's not just getting money, it's being that abundant person who can go anywhere they want to go and have an abundance, can be blessed in everything they set their hands to, can have great value being added to the world by their mere existence because they are constantly productive and doing valuable things in this world. Too often people think productivity and spirituality is only preaching the gospel. That's the only thing productive. Meanwhile, the man who wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, Paul, was a tent maker. He was a productive businessman, doing active things, producing value in the world. People needed tents. He made them. And if you go throughout history, there are all kinds of very productive ministers of the gospel who produce a lot of value in the world besides just the gospel message. We still serve the same God who gives us the power to get wealth. He teaches us to profit. He gives us witty inventions and wisdom liberally. There is not any reason that you should be going to a job that you hate, doing work that you don't enjoy. You don't have to love it, but at least like it. But if it's making you miserable and you hate it and the only reason you're doing it is for money, that is not ethical. That's not ethical behavior on your part. That's certainly not spiritual. You think God wants you doing that? Of course not. Now, I do need to add that in many people's situations, the misery and the disgust with their job and they hate their jobs is not necessarily the job's problem. It's not because of the job itself. It's just who they are. They're miserable people. So sometimes you need to address that. Make sure it's not your heart that's wrong, that your heart is right with the Lord, that you're focusing on the good, you're truly looking for the good in all things, because then you might have a different attitude about your work. But for many people, that's not what they're doing. They're miserable in their work. They're looking for the bad. They want to be doing consuming activities, such as watching movies and playing video games, listening to music, doing all these things, reading books, magazines, whatever it may be, websites. They want to do all this consuming and somehow have that monetized in their life, somehow get rewards for it financially because work's beneath them. No, it's not. You need to be doing productive work, but you don't need to be doing work that you hate. It doesn't have to be work that you love. Everybody sells that dream of doing what you love and then you'll never work another day in your life. Well, of course, that's obvious. That's a given. But not every aspect of work, even if it's work that you love, is all great. There are all kinds of things in business that may be things you really don't want to do, but they're not making you miserable. When you're going through life positive and upbeat in the highest vibrational state, looking to God as your source of all good, you're going to have a better attitude about life. You're going to feel better. Even those things that maybe you don't feel like doing, you're going to do them with joy and honor, doing them unto the Lord. How can you be miserable? How can you be fretting about work and talking about how awful it is and everything if you're doing it unto the Lord? If you're doing it with that servant heart of love and honor for God. That's a different mentality. And so then you can also take up the understanding of the abundance of God. That God is infinite. That His supply is infinite. That you can literally have all good things. That He freely gives you of all good things. He opens His hand and He satisfies all. He wants you to be blessed. He wants you to be abundant. And one of the main reasons I talk about this so much is because when I was doing straight ministry videos, doctrinal videos only, I would get many prayer requests, thousands of prayer requests over the years. And 90%, probably more than that, were about finances or related to finances. They're having a problem in their marriage because they don't have enough money. They're sick and they can't get the health care they needed because they don't have the finances. Their car broke down. They can't get it fixed because they don't have the finances. It was constantly prayer requests about finances or related to things that would have been fixed if they had enough finances. So this is why it's so important that I keep focusing on this, keep telling you about God's abundance, keep telling you about the prosperity that He delights in His servant having. He wants you to be blessed. He wants you to be abundant. He wants you to have good things in life. And He wants you to be able to give and share and spread abroad. And you can't do that if you're the one with the handout, if you're the one that's in need all the time. You need to be in an abundant place, and you can be. And this is a choice you must make. For most people, what I find is they don't do a whole lot to really make anything happen in their lives. They're doing the same thing each and every day, but hoping for some miracle to occur that's going to make it work out in their favor. Meanwhile, they know what to do. There's something in their day that they could be doing differently. There's something they could be doing more of, and they're not doing it. I understand sometimes it can be frustrating if you've been just kind of struggling and going through life, but you have to take up a new cause. You have to take up that righteous cause of doing all things unto the Lord and working harder than maybe you ever have worked and working smarter than you may have ever worked. There may be a time for relaxation. There may be a time when you can sit back and rest and enjoy and eat of the fruit of your labor. But right now, if you're struggling, right now, if you're not in an abundant state, you need to be living to your fullest, working to your fullest, working to your smartest, and getting the most done that you can. My friend, God wants you to be blessed. God wants you to be abundant. He wants you to have all the material things you could ever need or want. And then you can also share those things. But it doesn't just float out of heaven. You have to do the things that are needed to do, that are required to do to get those abundant results. And that is adding value to the world. That is having the right attitude, that right vibrational state of positivity, believing for the good, expecting the good. That way you can receive more good. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.